How were you injured?
2 years ago, I was injured in a bicycle accident. I was riding my bicycle in Countryside, Illinois, and a car pulled out of a gas station in front of me very rapidly. And in order to avoid being hit by the car, I slammed on my brakes and veered to the right, which caused me to go over the handlebars, and I landed on the street on the back of my head and the back of my right shoulder.
What were your injuries?
As a result of the accident, my injuries at the time, some were bruises and scratches and cuts, but because I'd landed on my head, I had bruises and scratches on my head, but I also broke my right clavicle in a very bad way in lots of pieces, and I broke the base of my left thumb.
Why did you choose Dixon Law Office?
So after the accident happened and I realized how injured I was and was heading towards surgery, I didn't know what to do, and a number of people had recommended that I speak with an attorney, including the police officer who handled my case, and I just didn't know who to call. I had no experience in this sort of thing, so I was actually referred to Dixon Law Office by a friend.
What were some of the fears you had about your case and hiring an attorney?
So initially I was unsure as to whether or not I should hire an attorney. I didn't know how the process would work. I'd never worked with an attorney before in any situation, nor had anyone in my family. And after a week of being injured and considering my options and speaking to a few people, I decided to call Dixon Law Office. And once I spoke with my attorney, I was convinced that I was on the right course.
What medical treatment did you receive from your injuries, and how did that affect your case?
So as a result of my injuries, the first thing that happened was I spent 10 hours or so in the emergency room and found out fairly quickly that a week later I would need to have surgery to repair my fractured clavicle. After that surgery, which was fairly extensive, I continued ongoing treatment for my shoulder and right clavicle, as well as the fractures in my left thumb, and did quite a bit of physical therapy over the next several months. I also became very depressed and was struggling with day-to-day things in addition to my physical pain, so I ended up going to a psychologist as well. Over the course of 2 years from the accident, I still had a number of limitations because of the injuries on my right side, and eventually found that I would need to have a second surgery, which I did about 26 months after the initial incident, and that surgery was very extensive. So I again went through the process of working with my orthopedic surgeon, having an extensive surgery, was back in a sling for a period of several weeks, and extensive physical therapy as well. As a result, my case then was continued on a bit because initially we didn't realize that my injuries were as bad as they were.
Did Dixon Law Office do a good job of answering your questions?
This is a very difficult process to go through. Not having had the experience of what it's like to be injured and go through as much medical care as I'd needed, you don't know what you are going to expect from a law office, but I found from the very beginning that my attorney was extremely good at explaining the process. He put me at ease about a number of things I was concerned about. He helped me to hang on when I sort of wanted to throw in the towel because I didn't know where we were going to go. I was concerned that we would go to trial and lose, but I knew that if he had faith and confidence in what we were doing, that I should as well. And I'm so glad that I stuck with his recommendations because in the end, everything worked out very well, and he made the process as good as it possibly could have been.
Why did you want to share your experience with others?
I'm choosing to share my experience because as difficult as this process is, I feel that the outcome was so positive, and it's hard to see down the road when you start this process and you're injured and things are happening, but it's good to know that I worked with a team I was very confident with. I would recommend them to anybody in a similar situation, and I just think the world of this team and all the work that they did to help me through my case.
What would you want people to know about Dixon Law Office?
I would want people to know that Dixon Law Office is a great office to work with because this is a very difficult process, as I said. You go through a lot of physical things as well as emotional and financial stress. And I felt like this team of people that work here truly cared about my process. They kept me informed throughout the entire 2+ years. I knew that I could reach my attorney if I needed to at any time, and I was totally confident in the abilities of the entire team here in the office.